Thank you, Andrea. I'd like to call the meeting to order now that we have quorum. I'll begin with our land acknowledgement. The Halifax Regional Municipality is located in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and traditional lands of the Mi'kmaq people. The municipality acknowledges the peace and friendship treaties signed in this territory and recognizes that we are all treaty people. So for our roll call, I've seen Councillor Hinch is here, Councillor Young, I see you, myself, Ms. Carlotta, I see you. Howard, thank you for joining us. On a leave of absence, we have Reese Wiley. No Jerry Taylor tonight. Regrets from Kehinde. Renee Babin is still on leave of absence, and I see you, Taylor. Supporting us today, we have our staff, Liam, Russell, and Jaslyn. Thank you, folks, for joining us and making this possible. At this point, item 1.1, I invite Anzio staff to please recite the affirmation.
Good evening, everyone. So we acknowledge that African teachings, strength, and perseverance continue to challenge and inspire our community. If we stand tall, it is because we stand on the shoulders of our many ancestors. Thank you.
Thank you, Russell. And before we move into the items on our agenda, I just wanted to extend a warm welcome to everyone. I know this is our first meeting of the new year, and it is the 22nd of January, but as the chair, I have the right to still wish you a happy new year. And it's a pleasure to see you folks. Councillor Young, I see your hand.
Thanks, Maps. I noticed I'm on there as vice chair. I'm going to have to decline that. It's only due to my schedule. I'm on 5 committees in one council and several different community organizations. I go to the board meetings. Maybe next year I can do the vice chair, but it's impossible for me to do that this year. Thanks.
Thank you for letting us know early. And of course, we appreciate that this happened, I believe, in your absence the last time we got together for the election. So at this point, Liam, can we schedule to have a vote, or does that need to happen in this meeting?
My suggestion, and if it's okay with the councillor, Mr. Chair, is that it be put on the agenda for the next meeting, and that would give prior notice, not just to the committee members, but also to any interested public that might be watching.
Okay. So folks, please do consider yourselves as a potential vice chair. We're looking for a vice chair. Thank you, Councillor, for letting us know. We do hope for this meeting, at the very least, you can be acting vice chair. We won't put too many responsibilities on you. But again, we appreciate your short stint with us as vice chair.
Thanks.
So moving on to the next item on our agenda, the approval of the minutes from our November 13th, 2025 meeting. As a reminder to folks, this is part of the agenda where you can bring forward any errors or omissions from the minutes of that previous meeting. Do members have any errors or omissions from the minutes of November 13th, 2025? Hearing none. Can I get a mover and a seconder to approve the minutes?
I so move.
Moved by Councillor Young,
Second.
seconded by Councillor Hinch. That the minutes of the November 13th, 2025 meeting are approved as circulated. All those in favor say aye, and those opposed say nay.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, folks. I declare the motion is carried. Item number 3, the approval of the order of business. At this point, folks, this is where at this part of the agenda, the clerk's office or our members will let the committee know if there are any additions or deletions to the agenda. And additions or deletions require the consent of you, the committee. Liam, are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Mr. Chair, there are no additions or deletions that are being put forward by the municipal clerk's office tonight.
Thank you. Members, do you have any additions or deletions to the agenda? Hearing none, can I get a mover and a seconder to approve the order of business as presented?
I so move.
Moved by Ms. Carlotta. Can I get a seconder, please?
I'll second.
Thank you, Councillor Hinch. That the agenda is approved as presented, I declare the motion carried. On items arising out of the minutes, there are no business items arising out of the minutes. The next item is a call for declaration of interests, conflict of interests. Does any committee member want to declare a conflict of interest as a result of an agenda item? If there are none, I can move on to the next agenda item. The consideration of deferred business, there is none. In terms of correspondence and petitions and delegations, Liam, have there been any correspondence received by the clerk's office?
There's been no correspondence received by the clerk's office for this evening's meeting.
Thank you, Liam. Have there been any petitions received by the clerk's office?
There's also no petitions that were received by the municipal clerk's office.
Thank you. Members, do you have any petitions? Hearing none, I can move on to the next agenda item. Or rather take the moment just to circle back a little bit and acknowledge Miss Tracy, who is joining us tonight. My annotated notes here had Jaslyn, but I see you and I hope you made it safely into the new year. Item number 9, reports and discussion. So item 9.1.1, we have an item exploring Afrocentric governance. At this point, I'd like to invite Max Chauvin to make a presentation to you folks. Max, welcome to the committee.
Chair, thank you so much for that. Am I coming through clearly on my system?
We hear you loud and clear. Folks, if you're having any
Perfect.
issues hearing Max, please let us know.
So I'm going to share about a 4-slide presentation, mainly to frame up the questions that I'd like to ask, and so you know where we're coming from. So give me a moment to press share on my system, and then go down to slideshow. So you should now see a blue slide screen in front of you, and I'm seeing nods from various folks. So my name is Max Chauvin. Currently I am the Director of Special Projects within the Parks and Rec business unit, and I'm on secondment to them for a review of the multi-district recreation facilities. Many of you would know me. My home position is I'm the Director of Housing and Homelessness in Community Safety. But as I said, for the next year, I'm with Parks and Rec leading this work. The multi-district facilities are the following on the left side of your screen: Alderney Landing in Dartmouth, Canada Game Centre in Clayton Park, Centennial Pool in Central Halifax, Cole Harbour Place in Cole Harbour, Halifax Forum in West End Halifax, the Sackville Sports Stadium in Sackville, St. Margaret's Bay Arena, out past Hammond's Plains, and the Zatzman Sportsplex in Dartmouth. All but the Sackville Sports Stadium are run by an independent board of directors that manages the facility on behalf of HRM. So, for example, the Zatzman Sportsplex facility is run by the Zatzman Sportsplex Recreation Association, which is a duly registered not-for-profit through joint stocks. And as similar to the rest of them, except for the Sackville Sports Stadium, which is run directly by HRM through our Parks and Rec programming unit. This is a large slide with lots of words, but really one of the things as we do a governance review is what is governance? What are we looking at? And the big things I want to highlight is we're reviewing the systems and the practices of how HRM assigns decision-making authority, how priorities are determined, how decisions will be made, and how groups will be held accountable. So how the HRM empowers those boards or tasks those boards with the overall operation of the facility. It includes the oversight of services, planning, budgeting, policy development, risk management, and has accountabilities through reports about use of resources, impact, outcome, and plans for improvement, and so on. And so really what we're looking at is how do we do this piece of work? Currently, for the majority of the boards, there are some differences, but the boards are generally 8 to 12 people. And they're structured with I will say, a very Western or a colonial structure with a chair, a vice chair, treasurer, secretary, very specific roles, responsibilities, and looks somewhat like what we would have seen when those first societies started to be formed in England in the 17 and 1800s. The way that HRM frames that governance relationship is through the creation of a management agreement. So we have with each of those societies an agreement around how they'll operate and things that they have to follow. Each board of directors hires a general manager and an executive director to manage the association, to run the facility, and that person then hires other staff for the organization. Boards continually change. People sometimes retire because they've reached their term limit, or potentially there is somebody has, maybe they move or they've got different commitments in their life. So the boards do change on a fairly regular basis. And currently boards primarily focus on financial oversight, policy development, and long-term plans, with the staff being the experts and focused on the operations. So what I've come to you tonight, and welcome to hear things tonight, but also can share these questions through the chair in the clerk's office and the presentation. You've got that. And you're welcome also to share thoughts with me directly, or I'm happy to have a phone call, whatever works. But as we explore the governance relationship, and I'm doing interviews with people, what works, what doesn't work, what are the opportunities to improve, one of the things that I'm interested in is these two questions, which is, from an Afrocentric or community-rooted perspective, what alternative governance, values, principles, or practices should be considered to better reflect collective leadership, relational decision-making, and shared responsibility? And how should HRM consider practicing power sharing, accountability, and stewardship within the MDEF, those facilities, and the communities in ways that build trust, inclusion, and collective ownership? And the reason I'm asking about values is I believe if you start a discussion in a different place, you end up with a different result and a different product. And so I'm really interested in hearing your thoughts on some of those values and principles that may start us in a different place and lead us to something different in a recommendation when we come to council in the fall. So Chair, that's my presentation. These are sort of the questions that I'm interested in hearing some feedback on, and also open to letting people, as I said, participate in writing and in whatever way works best for your committee members.
Thank you, Max. I think what we can do is, if folks have any first thoughts they'd like to share in the moment, we open up the opportunity to do so. But certainly, I believe there'll be some folks who are a little bit more reflective who want to kind of get back to you with some thoughts. But for the moment, folks, I open it up to you. Do you have any immediate thoughts that you'd like to share with Max? And thank you for that presentation, Max.
Oh, you're welcome. And again, there is absolutely open to meetings later, conversations later, email later, whatever works for people is absolutely welcome.
Councillor Young, go ahead.
Yeah, maybe it'd be better on a reflection end that we can maybe get back to you, Max, on that. So we have a little bit more time to think about it. Some of us, like, I'd like to have time to think about it before I just give you an answer. Thanks.
Max, is there a deadline for kind of this feedback that you're looking for?
I would hope to have it in, I'm going to publish in the end of February sort of an initial what we heard, but there'll be opportunities after that also as we continue to do work. So ultimately in the next couple of months, I need it. I would like to have it by the end of February if possible.
Okay.
But there's some flexibility. If people want to reflect, Chair, I can put this in sort of a letter to the committee members and with my contact information, and I can get Liam to distribute that to the committee, follow it tomorrow, and give people a chance to do that if that works for you.
I think that would be very helpful. And for our sake, I know February is a busy month for folks. If perhaps we could give it, how does 2 weeks from now sound? If folks can send stuff in to me and then I'm happy to pull it all together for Liam. I do have some thoughts and I'd love to share them. Folks, how does 2 weeks from now sound? If we say February 5th, well, let's push it to the Friday, February 6th, end of
So
day.
we're sending it on to you, and then you're going to send it on to Max. Is that how it's going to
Yes.
go?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is
that
that
sounds good to
okay?
me.
Okay,
That's good to
February
me.
6th.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Chair, if I can speak for Liam and I will put that together tomorrow and get it out to
Okay.
everybody sort of Monday with email addresses for everybody and all those pieces.
That's correct.
Okay.
We can certainly handle that, and maps. Certainly we can help put that information together from the committee as well too.
Yeah.
So don't feel like you have to have the burden on yourself there.
Okay. Okay. Great.
Yeah.
So, folks, you'll be seeing information, you said Monday, and all instructions will be there. But for the moment, again, I want to reiterate, this is a chance. If you have even half-formed thoughts, please do share. We can build
Okay,
these up together.
I'm going to share my thoughts.
Please do.
I'm just trying to mind my business and be quiet. So when I saw this, Max, I was like, what does this have to do with African Descendant Advisory Board and whatnot? And I mean, not so much that what it has to do with. The fact is that I don't believe that when I saw the facilities, my one thing was, okay, there's very minimal, little representation of us on these boards. So, I mean, that's the one thing that came directly to mind to me. And how can we change that narrative? How can we change that? I mean, I'm on the forum board, but I'm the counselor. And as you know, the counselor can be anybody. So I'm the only Black female that's on the Black person that's on that forum. So if it wasn't me, it could if it wasn't just for me, then it could be just a regular board of colonialism, as you put it. So I mean, if that's the narrative here, to come here to try to make a difference in that way, then I'm all for that.
That is certainly, Counselor, absolutely one thing that is very relevant to what I'm looking for. And but I don't presuppose that there's any one specific or other. I'm open to hear any suggestions from anybody about how do we do it. I just think that the current structures have grown out of a very colonial model, Robert's rules, all of those different pieces.
Yes.
And I think one obvious answer that comes to your statement is, well, can we require more diversity on boards and representation? And that is obviously something we can do. But I wonder if there are other more substantive things that we can do around how we structure these relationships to be more welcoming, more
Inclusive,
places that
open.
people feel safe and people recognize and people go, I can have influence. I can how these things make decisions can be different. And so I'm open to all of that.
I just think we have to be invited to the conversation.
Thank you, Councillor. I think just building off of that comment, I see there's an immense richness in Afrocentric values and principles. There's a lot that can be gleaned from them in whether it's relationships, leadership, generally community building and gathering and all of that. But I feel like without that representation piece, it can very quickly become something tokenistic or performative. And so there's the very real risk of that. However, I do see an opportunity as well, much like this committee and other committees, boards represent an opportunity for folks to learn about leadership, to learn about governance, to learn about how these facilities are managed and all of that. So perhaps there's opportunities here to open up even further, not only just the board recruitment to diversity, but the experience of working on a board. So I'm thinking here, there's folks in community who do all sorts of programming, much like what the community facilities offer. There could be an opportunity to engage with those folks and learn how they're bringing people together, understand the resource constraints, understand, the amazing things they're doing with very little, understand how they're navigating perhaps intergenerational connection and relationships and things like that. And you bring that knowledge and that insight and you empower those folks. So bringing them in more formally to opportunities, leadership opportunities. And I'm not saying welcoming them into that kind of colonial structure, but opening up yourselves, these structures to take on a more Afrocentric structure from the guidance of these folks, from the leadership of community. And then that way the principles are infused more naturally and it seems less so of a tokenistic approach. So I think my main point is engagement with folks in community who are doing a lot of this type of programming, whether it's placemaking, community building, all sorts of, community-centric activities. Ms. Carrara?
I agree with Councillor Hinch and with you, Maps, but it's only been in the last, what I would say, 10 to 15 years that we are now starting to see people that look like us on committees, government committees and business committees. So to see that we're going to try to get one on a community, they want to stay in their own community and build outwards. So they're building up HRM rec centers in their community before they want to take it outside because they don't feel that their children are welcome outside. So if we can't change that way of thinking, then it's going to be a while before we get somebody like us to sit on one of their committees.
Thank you.
Any more feedback, folks? Thoughts? Are there any opportunities you're seeing here? What would a reimagined board, or not even a board, what would a, you know, a leadership or a management structure look like to you folks if you could imagine yourself having free reign to reimagine that whole thing from a community perspective? What could that look like for you? If you could pick and choose, for example, I want 4 elders and 3 youth representatives and 2 people who work in programming and what, like that kind of thinking. Let's just open it up a little bit here.
Well, I know we definitely have to think about the next generation, and bring them on board because again, I find a lot of these boards, they're stagnant, they're old, they're set in their ways. We need fresh perspectives.
Mhm.
We need young, fresh perspectives, to help step up, navigate. But again, as Carletta was right, because we don't see our kids in these spaces. We don't see most of us in these spaces. It's been a long time that I've been to Centennial Pool. The only time I've been to the forum is because I'm on the board right now. I may have been there for a concert, maybe back in the 80s or the 90s or whatever, but it's been a long time. I don't ice skate. I mean, there could be other options for other recreational excuse me, things that could be offered at the forum or, you know, or at the Zatzman Center. I mean, I've been to the Zatzman maybe last year for a basketball game, a professional basketball game. But I mean, that's the only time I've really been there, to be honest with you. So are we really in these spaces? Are we really welcome in these spaces? Is another thing. So I totally agree with Miss Carletta on what she said.
Thank you, Councillor.
And if we do have people on this board that have children that they, let me know.
Max, do you have any questions or thoughts that we can, deepen some responses with?
Well, certainly it can put some pieces out there. One of the things that I understand from sort of a value piece is the importance of relationships over structure and rigid systems is really important. And in our current structure, to move towards team meetings and things like that, we do not build the relationships that we used to build. Not saying that Teams isn't a good channel and a good way to work, but it does have impact on some of those values. I also wonder about decision making. We have a very structured, very rigid decision making system through Robert's rules. That I don't think supports or encourages as much as perhaps would be valuable, that a consensus or a shared leadership model would make. And so, again, I wonder about those. And I mean, if you're interested, if you would like it, I can certainly put some of those thoughts into that letter that Liam and I will send out to everybody of here are some of the things that we're thinking about. I wanted to listen to at this point to understand, but certainly I can put some more stuff in that in a one-page letter that comes back asking for your feedback, if that's what you'd like.
I think that would be very helpful, just so folks can get a better understanding of
Yeah.
what's on the table in terms of what can be reimagined, what can be reshaped, because there are things, of course, that are quite technical and unchanging. So maybe the financial aspects are not up for discussion right now, but how decisions are made could be up
Yeah.
for discussion. So I think being quite clear what's negotiable, non-negotiable,
Yeah.
so to speak, will help folks to understand how we can better see ourselves reflected in these facilities, top to bottom.
Absolutely, we will do that for you.
Thank you. Another element I wanted to put in there, I think Councillor Hinch made me think of something here. From my understanding, a lot of the folks who make use of our recreational facilities as well as our libraries, increasingly it's our newcomers and immigrants as well. I'm thinking here of, you know, the African diaspora, so folks from continental Africa, newcomers, immigrants in that regard. I think it's important for us to be thinking of all of the demographics of people of African descent, all of their backgrounds, their experiences, um, and making sure we're considerate of that as well. But most importantly, that any and all of these conversations are rooted in the history and the context of Nova Scotia. So, as the councillor alluded to in her sharing there, folks historically have not seen themselves in these spaces and not felt welcomed in those spaces. So we need to start the conversation there. If folks are not feeling welcome in these spaces, they don't see themselves represented, how could we possibly embed any sort of real, true Afrocentric values and principles? But not to say that one needs to precede the other, not at all. We can have both of those conversations at the same time. So, yeah.
Yeah, my urgency on having the conversation is that through this review, we're going to actually take a real look at how we do this work, and it is a chance to change it for the next decade.
Yeah.
So I really want to make sure we're capturing MAPS all the breadth of what you're sharing.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Ms. Carlotta, go ahead.
You know, it's strange that this is coming up in 2026. I can go back probably a lot farther than some of you fellows are old. I can remember when I was young, we went to the Commons and there was games and there was the pool, but there was no financial stress upon the parent or the participant or the child going there. Nowadays, for the children to go to any of these places, it costs. And a lot of these families who might want to send their children there don't have the money. Don't have the money to send them there or to get the transportation to get them there, which I think that's probably been taken care of now because they get the passes from school and all that. But the thing of it is that you want participation and you want to see us in these places, make it accessible, financially accessible. Make us feel welcome. You know, when you walk into a place, you want to see somebody that looks like you, more than just one tucked away somewhere, more than just one stuck on a committee somewhere. We've got to be invited in. You've got to listen and invite us in, and we got to listen to you as well. And we can't do that if nobody asks us to come, because I'm quite sure I'm on committees all over the place and all that. And I'm quite sure that people want to keep their children close nowadays because they don't feel safe. So send them to the Zapman Center. I know for a fact that my grandson won't go anywhere up around the bus terminal there in the evening. Doesn't feel safe. So how are you sending your child out someplace if you can't guarantee that they're going to feel safe? Why can't we put on a baseball game or something for them? We took the tolls off the bridge. So why can't we give them a place to go have a baseball game? I have not heard of a child's baseball game that you didn't have to pay for a uniform, this, that, and the other thing. We just were given a bat, the ball, and sent out and go play. That doesn't happen anymore. We got to make things like that happen if we want to get people back to having fun and going to rec centers and feeling included.
Thank you, Ms. Carlaro.
Thanks. That's great. Great stories.
And thank you, Ms. Carlaro, for sharing that, particularly the way you shared it, because I think, Max, there's something to be said of storytelling as an approach to really getting at the narratives, the perceptions, the fears, the concerns, the barriers, the the past, quite frankly, because it's important to recognize what was working for folks in community or what has been working for folks in community and what's changed or what hasn't changed. And our people value stories very much. We value storytelling as our medium for communicating with each other. So that would be a demonstration of embracing an Afrocentric approach if your way of gathering these insights took on a storytelling approach. And I know you've said you're listening today, so that's really important. The listening aspect is something that folks really appreciate because too often folks aren't listened to, our people aren't listened to. So to give us the space to express ourselves and to paint that image of what community looks like to us and what community means to us. From that, you get even a sense of what relevant programming to people of African descent would look like when you truly listen to kind of what the needs are in community. It's almost as if I think of what was it? I think it was in Dartmouth North. There was an ice rink or something that was um, deemed surplus a while back. I'm not sure where that sits now, but anyway, that didn't serve the immediate community in the sense that curling and ice hockey and all of that was being offered there, but the immediate community around that couldn't afford to be, enrolled in things like that. And so the space sat dormant and wasn't of particular use to community. So I think being very careful around making sure programming is community specific, but also that the facility itself is welcoming of that particular community. It's going to look different in each community, and I think that's what we need to be mindful of. Any more ideas, folks? Thank you. This is really, really, really building up something really rich and meaningful. Few folks are quiet today.
Even when it comes to like the commons and whatnot, because I remember she just brought it back to me because in the summertime, normally, us as kids, we woke up in the morning, we got our bathing suits ready, we got maybe a little bit of lunch ready, and that we know that we were going up to the commons for the day. Our parents knew where we were at. We were at the commons for the day. Now it's like if you try to make those plans to go up to the commons for the day, you may not get into the pool because again, they did it all over. There's a whole new facility and whatnot, but you have to walk through. It's not like an open pool like it was before. And so that has put stipulations on folks. That has made it difficult for folks because if you're not the first 150 or whatever it is that it is, then you have to wait in order to get in line to access the pool, which was never the case before. So they put those little stipulations in place that make it harder for us to access even free facilities.
Thank you, Counselor. Any more thoughts, folks? Again, you have the opportunity to reflect a little bit more. Don't feel pressured to speak now, but know that there's still an opportunity to share some feedback. Max, would this be a good point to kind of end this conversation for now and continue over email and such?
I think so, Chair. I would, just before you move on to the next item, just would like to thank you for making the space and time for me to come and ask, and for the willingness of the committee members to put some more thought to this and for a further response. this was very, very valuable to me. And so I appreciate your willingness to let me come, and for everybody for participating, because this was really, really helpful, and I'm looking forward to the next piece.
Thank you, Max. You've educated us today. We know a little bit more about facilities and how they're managed and governed and such, and we look forward to contributing some insights into how we can move that in the right direction.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we'll move on to the next item, which is item 9.1.2, the ANZIO monthly update. Russell, do you have an update for us today?
There should have been something that was circulated in the package. It was really just the updates regarding African Heritage Month. Just wanted to share with committee members some of the events taking place that HRM was involved with. So that was circulated. Krista, I believe, sent it out to everybody. So just wanted to share that, and then obviously open up the floor for any questions if any members had any questions around what was shared.
Folks, please take a look at the calendar invite. It should be attached there. If you have any questions for Russell.
Mr. Chair, it's Tracy here.
Yes, go ahead, Ms. Tracy.
I have just received information today about a conference that I'd like to share with the committee. It is being held at Mount St. Vincent University. It's free. Just one moment. I can put the information in the chat, but it is, sorry, I'm only working on one computer, so it's a little slow here. It's called Unstoppable, Celebrating the Brilliance and Contributions of Women, a half-day conference honoring the leadership, resilience, and brilliance of Black women and women of color in our communities. So I'd like to be able to share that. I'll share the information with the clerk's office and ensure that that gets out. It's a free half-day conference at Mount St. Vincent University, February the 10th.
February 10th. Thank you for that. And a reminder, folks, take a look at the attachment in today's meeting calendar invite. More information around African Heritage Month events and activities.
And just Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
I was just going to offer, like, I see we're doing fairly well for time. Like, I can quickly just read through what was shared and circulated.
Please.
And like I said, if there are any questions, happy to take any questions. But yeah, I can quickly just go through what was shared. So on January 20th is the provincial launch for African Heritage Month. So it's being shared via live stream on the YouTube channel for the Black Cultural Center. So that's January 20th, the provincial launch will be live streamed on YouTube. And then on January 28th, that will be our opening night. So the municipal opening night, January 28th at 7 p.m. It will be hosted at Paula Regan Hall, which is inside the Halifax Central Library. It's also, again, going to be live streamed on YouTube in partnership with the Halifax Libraries and the Black History Month Association. Also, the Office of Diversity and Inclusion and ANZIO will be a part of this as well. And we welcome any HRM employees and residents from community to join us in the official kickoff of African Heritage Month. The evening will include musical performances, most notably by Josh Williams. And then the following morning, we have our flag raising ceremony that will take place beginning at around 10 a.m. And it will take place at Grand Parade Square, followed by inside Halifax Hall. There will be a live streaming option on YouTube as well, where we will have some remarks, the reading of the proclamation, and then we will have some light refreshments, as well as an intergenerational panel conversation, just looking at the significance and the importance of African African Heritage Month from different perspectives. There will be a youth participant as well as an elder from community, and then there will be an educator participating in the panel conversation, which will be actually moderated by yours truly. So if you are around and looking for a way to celebrate and acknowledge African Heritage Month with us, those are the three things that we will be involved in.
Thank you very much, Russell. Folks, if you are able to make it out for any of the launches or openings, I think it's really important for us to have some presence there, and to celebrate with our family. So I think any chance you get to do so, please do. It's rare moments of joy in the middle of our very hectic weeks that we can just reflect and celebrate our cultures, our identity, and our unity. Go ahead, Counselor.
For an African Nova Scotian sash, is there any way that I can buy one, get one somewhere? Can anybody help me out here?
Ms. Tracy, any ideas?
Counselor, are you talking about the Ancio slash that they wear?
Yes.
We don't have any of them, and we haven't ordered any. But I'll tell you, it would be interesting because some of the other municipalities, and maybe through the mayor's office, have ordered sashes for council members.
Okay, I'll check through them. I doubt if they did though, but okay.
Oh, so Russell tells me I'm muffled. My mic was tucked down, but you
Yeah,
got all of that?
I did.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any more questions for Russell? Hearing none, but still keeping the same conversation going. Item 9.2 is the committee member updates. So our community roundtable conversation. This is where I invite you to share any updates within your communities, any events we should be aware of upcoming. This particularly would, in my opinion, I think is an opportunity to speak to African Heritage Month events and activities. So folks, is there anything you're aware of that we should be sharing? You can share as well via email later on, but this is your opportunity to let people know what's going on for you.
Okay. Maps?
Yes, please go ahead.
Hi, Carlotta here. St. Thomas Baptist Ladies Auxiliary. They have been celebrating and doing an F-centric, I would say a fun night, cultural night, every year. I think this is their 15th year or so of doing it. So on February the 1st at 6 p.m. at St. Thomas Baptist Church on 35 Simmons Road in North Preston, they will be putting on a program. It's free. We do some spirituals, there's songs, and there's get together, and everybody's more than welcome to come on out and join us.
Thank you, Ms. Carlotta. Any more community updates, events, activities, issues, concerns are included here as well? Go ahead, Councillor.
Thanks, Maps. African Heritage Month. Tomorrow, Friday, the 23rd, from 6 to 8 p.m., we're going to have a Active Transportation Rural Area Rate Community Engagement. To kick off to trying to get feedback from the community for the Lucasville Greenway project. It's a multi-use pathway for the Lucasville Road. So it's 2 dates, tomorrow 6 to 8 at the Wallace Lucas Community Center, and Tuesday the 27th of January 1 to 3 at the Wallace Lucas Community Center. So the residents in the area are going to come out and get the feedback on the proposal of an area rate to just cover the maintenance of the multi-use pathway. It's segment 2. It's in 4 segments, and segment 2 that's will be looked at for the community. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you, Councillor. These are the kind of updates we're looking for as well, folks. Please do share what's happening. Any opportunity to extend our voices and be involved in the initiatives that are happening across our region. I'll ask that if Anzio staff could please share any events related to African Heritage Month. If anything else comes up, I know there's a bunch of galas that are usually in the middle towards the end of February. All of that information, good opportunity for us to get together and see each other in person. Please do share that information as you become aware of it. Liam can help us make sure that it gets to the right people. Moving on to the next agenda item, item number 10, added items.
Sorry,
Yep,
Maps,
go
can I
ahead.
just jump in
Yeah.
really quickly? Sorry. Just when you mentioned that, it just made me think, just for any folks that aren't aware, so Saturday, February 28th is the Provincial African Heritage Month Gala taking place at the Convention Center in downtown Halifax. Tickets are available on Eventbrite. And I think I'm not sure if it's still available, so don't quote me on this, but when the sales for the tickets originally opened up, there was a discounted rate for community members that you could get on the Black Cultural Center's website. So they were discounted, in comparison with the full price of a ticket. So yeah, I don't know if that's something that is still available. I know that tickets are still available, but yeah, again, that's Saturday, February 28th at the Convention Center in Halifax, the African Heritage Month Provincial Gala.
Thank you, Russell. I'm going to share a link here. I'll share the link there to the gala. Right. So item number 10, added items. There are no added items. So I'll move on to the next item, which is item number 11. Date of the next meeting is February 19th, 2026. Prior to that meeting, we have an agenda review meeting, myself, the vice chair, and our clerk's office and Anzio staff and DNI staff. Folks, if there's anything you'd like on the agenda for our next meeting, February 19th, 2026, between now and a week before that meeting, please let me know. These meetings are for you. These committee meetings are for you to be able to bring stuff forward. So please don't hesitate to do so. I know next we'll be having our election of the vice chair. So a reminder to please consider yourself. If you'd like to take this opportunity to learn, please do. But in general, we do have agenda review prior to the meeting, and that's our opportunity to put stuff on the agenda so we can have really meaningful conversations and make the most of our time together. So as a reminder as well, February and March meetings will be held virtually due to the winter weather. So please stay safe, folks. We'll be virtual for our meetings in February and March. I'll now move on to the next item, item number 12, which is adjournment. If there's nothing left for folks to share or express, I can adjourn the meeting. I'll just give us a moment here. Okay. Can I get a mover to adjourn the meeting, please?
Move it.
Moved by Councillor Hinch. Thank you, folks. Meeting